Welcome to Social Genius, brought to you by Drunk on Social, where we help you stay ahead of social media trends, share the latest news, and highlight the strategies that are working to help you grow your business. Now let's join our hosts, Tristan and Jeff, in 3, 2, 1.
LinkedIn. This is the ugly stepchild. At least that's what we call it. I suck at LinkedIn, even though I have thousands of followers. I think that happened because of lab coats, not because of any effort that I put into it. But I can tell you what works because we still use LinkedIn. We use it a lot. We use it daily. And there are a lot of surprises when it comes to LinkedIn. Here's what I want you to remember when it comes to LinkedIn. Because it's a professional network, you've got to speak to inspire, and you've got to know the audience too. Who is that audience that you're targeting? Most of them are professional. They're there to connect with other professionals. And I don't know about you, but most professionals aren't there to impress others. It's more about to inspire them and show them how they can also do what they're doing or grow. The fact is, LinkedIn grew through the pandemic, and a lot of people don't realize that. But LinkedIn, you already know that it's the largest professional social networking platform. And if you take a look at their growth, it's significantly grown, more so than people would think. Here are 5 reasons to have a LinkedIn profile. I mean, I'm going to stop really quick, and I'm going to pick somebody again randomly. Okay, let's stop the share. I want you to just type in me, and I'm going to pick you. I need your name if it's not showing.
Ooh,
I'm gonna, you know what, Jeff? You pick one. Pick one. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go to Google, and you tell me.
Get Dell. That was the first one I saw.
Dell. What's the full name?
Oh shit! Now I gotta scroll up. Schaefer, maybe, is that right? Yeah, Schaefer.
Dell Schaefer. Got you. Okay.
Schaefer. Yep.
All right. Let's go to Google, and then I'll share my screen when I get to Google. All right. Let's go.
And I will, by the way, tell you, and anybody there's a bunch of people that are on this call that are already social geniusers. You know, you will get. I mean, these are very interactive calls, so it's as interactive as you want it to be. Some people just sit back and listen, and some are like very active. So, if like today you don't, there's so many of you, it's really hard to show attention, but you definitely get more attention on the calls just because there's usually like what, Tristan, we have like 200 people in our coaching platform, and 20 to 50 show up consistently. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'd say we get about 50 most of the time, consistently. I'm going to type in Dell Schaefer on its own. Okay, Dell, I know you're on here, and I'm going to see what pops up. I want you to take a look at the first few on here, and it's going to be like this for most of you. You've got your website for real estate, which is important. That's where I would typically go to if I'm doing research on you. You're active on, I think this is you. Yeah, you're active on X, which is great, right? Which is the next platform we're going to talk about. And then the very next one is LinkedIn. And that's how it's going to be for most of you. Top 3, top 4 is going to be LinkedIn. If you're a LinkedIner, it means if you've got an account on LinkedIn. The one thing that I do see people unfortunately miss an opportunity on is a lack of information when it comes to the profile. Like, I don't know what your phone number is. And LinkedIn for a lot of you is going to be number 1. Even though you never use it, it's going to be number 1 or number 2. Then as you scroll down, you're going to see other things. Dell looks like you posted X, and maybe on YouTube, LinkedIn. Then you have the rest of them, realtor.com, Facebook.
Is that you, Dell? On the images?
Did I get the right, Dell?
Well, yeah, definitely. But I'm just curious, is that him? It's always fun to put a face to a name.
Oh yeah. Is this you, buddy? Is he?
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, he said yes.
Cool.
All right, cool.
I would have guessed, and I'm just gonna randomly throw this out there, Dell. I would have guessed you to be like older, so I don't know why.
Yeah, dude, you look pretty young, man.
Yeah, I'd guess you're probably 38.
And I want you to remember, this is what the consumer is doing.
Oh, 45, man, you're doing well. Good job,
Yeah,
buddy.
you're doing pretty good, buddy. Oh, you almost got 77. Like, definitely. You're not 77. You're not 77. All right, Del, this is what most people miss when they go to LinkedIn, and I want you to do this. So if we go to the profile right here, um, I have my phone number and I have other information there that I want you to have. The opportunities that you have here is that people are going to be looking for your information on LinkedIn because it pops up at the top. And a lot of the times it's going to come down to that phone number that you put there. So if you have a profile, make sure you put your phone number on there. And there are other things we'll go on here as well, like posts. We have a newsletter. If you've got a newsletter, make sure that you take a look at the feature for LinkedIn as the newsletter. We've got almost 45, a little over 4,500 subscribers just to our newsletter, which is kind of crazy. And let me go back to our slide so I can go back to the important things.
Yeah, somebody brought up a good point too. It's like, how many things can you afford to buy? And I mean, it's a great point. And that's where you just got to decide what is, what's most important for you. And I do want to comment before we go down this list on LinkedIn. It's not my favorite platform because I really enjoy entertainment and social networking. And to me, LinkedIn's too stuffy. I do use it. But here's what I will tell you. I've had a lot of success and created a lot of conversations. I do have Sales Navigator, which is I think $99 a month.
Mhm.
And that allows me to run targeted messaging on the back end. And here's the other piece. To me, LinkedIn is very antiquated, and the people that are using it at a high level suck at it. And they're sending the same generic crappy messages. What I've found, I'll shoot like a bomb video, make it seem very personal, and then run a targeted ad or run a targeted message. It's not an ad, targeted message to people's inboxes, and they think that I sent them to that. They think I sent that to them personally, and it creates conversation. So if you really love LinkedIn and you want to focus on LinkedIn, you're going to need to get Sales Navigator. You might even want to hire our friends over at MyLink Solutions. Um, that's what I did because I didn't have the time to dig deep into the weeds. But I got really good engagement when I was running targeted messages there. So there is some power there. It's not my favorite platform, but if for those that do love it, it's useful.
Yeah, and I'll show you guys Sales Navigator too. Here again, we have this. We did this for all of the platforms, so we also did it for X. So what I want you to do is take a picture of this one too. Video is very powerful on LinkedIn, and live video, believe it or not, performs extremely well on LinkedIn. That's something that I was very surprised with. I'm still surprised every time. I'm like, oh, it's not going to work this time. It's not going to work. And it outperforms every social outlet that I use to do lives with. It outperforms all of them. So lives do extremely well. Remember, you're doing a live for a professional group of people. And the other part that people forget about LinkedIn is that there are groups in LinkedIn communities that are massive, hundreds of thousands, millions of people in some groups. That's the only other outlet that handles groups like Facebook. And we forget that piece. I don't know about you, Jeff, but I always forget about groups in LinkedIn.
Somebody just noticed that we're live on LinkedIn. I guess the
Oh,
overrun.
oh, nice. Yeah, there you go. We're live. We're live on LinkedIn. We're live on Facebook too, and I think we're live on YouTube. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you're better off doing these things like how you guys are in Zoom because that's where we're most active. But yes, we are live on those platforms because hey, we practice what we preach.
Yeah. Plus, we don't see the comments on there, but I'm sure our
And by the way, we've got an incredible team behind the scenes and some rather good looking people behind the scenes too that we can't get in front of the camera. I keep trying to get Monch to show his face more.
we'll get it. We'll get it. We should bring some of them on into the group coaching. Uh, Message people with value. Please don't spam
Hey,
them.
you know what? Can I
Go
just
ahead.
stop that right there? That's a great idea because we've had several questions about how to hire VAs. And honestly, that's where Monch, you could bring a lot of value to a meeting is like, what is the best way to look for VA? What best place to find them? And then what questions should be asking? Because Monch is one of the leaders behind the scenes and he does a lot of the vetting for hiring and firing
Good
and all that
point.
kind of stuff. So,
That actually could be a whole session that we do.
oh, 100%. Yeah.
Let's do that. Manch, we're bringing you in, buddy. You're going to teach
Sorry.
us.
Sorry, buddy.
There you go. There you go.
Sorry, not sorry, not sorry.
Pictures and graphics still work here. So written works extremely well. This is the reason that I have 4,500 followers just on the newsletter alone. So if you tend to gravitate to writing more and putting pictures and less video, LinkedIn may be the platform for you. Message people. When you're messaging people, you have the ability here. I'm going to just go on mine. You have the ability to reverse prospect people here. And I don't want you spamming them because the number one message I get when it comes to LinkedIn is, do you want to join my brokerage? Or do you want to buy this because I'm selling this or that? And let me go here. Perfect. So I'm going to go to the top, where I'm going to shrink that. Over on the top right, you see Sales Navigator, right? This is what Jeff was talking about. Sales Navigator is owned by LinkedIn. It's a paid feature, but if I click it, it allows you now to be able to filter out certain things. We're going to go through it with you live. You see here it says lead filters and account filters. So let's say I would go to lead filters. Now, if I wanted to reverse prospect uh, a certain amount of people in an area that work wherever they work. So current company, for me, I know that the largest pharmaceutical in the world is here where I'm at. So I could do that, or I could do the Rams organization. What are the Rams organizations? What are they? The Rams? Are they? Oh, what would they be, dude? Do you know? Oh, let's not do
I
that.
only know the
Let's do,
football team.
yeah, let's do Amgen. Let's do Amgen. Now I've got Amgen. I've got, if I scroll up, I can go to and I say, hey, are there more biotech people here besides Amgen? Let's see. I got Amgen. I'm gonna do
Yeah,
this.
and I think what the bigger point here is, targeting on LinkedIn, you can target like I'll tell you two things I've seen, Tristan, is not only employees of companies, but you can target like graduates of a university. So if you live in a town that has a big university or just any university, that you can run targeted like ads or targeted messages to them saying that, I mean, you can get as basic as you get a free appraisal because you're an alum of blah, blah, blah. I've connected with people, Tristan, who took the time to send me a LinkedIn message saying, "Hey, I see you're a Webster University grad." And I'm like, huh, like you took just a moment of time to go find that about me. Now I'm going to respond to you. It meant something to me.
Dude, that matters a lot. This is the powerful thing about LinkedIn that nobody uses. I just typed in Amgen. You could have typed in like Jeff said, a school, and I went to executive current job. There's only 11. That's how narrowed down you can get. And these are all people that I can target and say, hey, I've got a special promo for you. Or if I want to go here and say, hey, let's target all of the police officers, all of the fire department, or all the nurses in the area. And then let's run a promo and reverse prospect or message them one-on-one and say, hey, I'm running a special this year for all nurses or for all police officers, whatever that is. You can do that. That's the power of LinkedIn on the back end when you add Sales Navigator. But if we go back to where we were on these top 6 things, here they are. What's working here? Best practices. Share your industry insights and professional content. I would say if there's any place, any social media place where you want to brag a little bit and showcase what you've sold, what you have on the market, things like that, going to be LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the place you want to do that more and engage with your network through comments and messages, no different than anywhere else. This works really well on LinkedIn though. And then LinkedIn articles for longer informative posts. These get shared probably the most. So if you have knowledge of whatever industry you're in and you want to go deeper and give me that information as as a user or audience on LinkedIn, this is where you're going to showcase that. This is where you're going to tell me how interest rates affect my market, what's happening in my specific market with this chart. This is where people actually care, right? That's key. Jeff, you don't have a John Deere hat. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Hey, somebody asked how are we live on so many platforms at the same time? Which platform are we using?
Hold on. I'm going to change out my hat for a Daffy hat. Okay. Now I can answer that. We've got Restream. So let me show you really quick how Restream works.
Restream, or what's the other platform with the duck? What's that called?
That one's not as good. That one's called shoot, a little duck. I just
StreamYard. Thank you, Beth.
Yeah.
StreamYard's good, and StreamYard's cool because you can really interact with people and you can display their comments. I have a buddy who's a tractor puller, and he uses StreamYard and he loves it. But he's not in Zoom, so he's living in the lives. So that's the difference.
Yeah.
And by the way, Restream only works with a Mac.
I'm going to show you. No, that's Ecamm Live.
Oh, Ecamm. Sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Restream works with. Let me show you the back end of Restream. Here's where it can go live: Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, X, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, Telegram. It can go live anywhere. And now it's just going to need special. You're going to need a special stream code to go into Instagram and TikTok. But outside of these, everything else is super easy. And that's restream.io. There you go. Some side note information for you.
Good. I've got a funny story about the hats, by the way.
Dude.
The way that started was because I was going to the dermatologist and they said, because you are follically challenged, you are going to get skin cancer, so you better start wearing hats. And I wasn't a big hat wearer back then, and I started wearing hats, and then I started wearing branded hats, and then this was about the time I was doing video on social, and I was boring myself with mortgage and real estate content, and I was like, man, but how am I going to brand myself if I don't talk about it? And that's where it just dawned on me. And I'm like, you know what? I don't ever have to talk about my business. I'll just wear it, which will subtly remind people. And yeah, that's where it went. That's the reason for the hats. It's actually not branding. It's just to get less skin cancer.
Dude, that's pretty crazy. You should actually tell that story.
Yeah. If through a video. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, that'd be a great idea. And let's end this session with LinkedIn by taking a look at Dell's LinkedIn so we can see what we can modify and fix.
Dell, do you use Just for Men? Come on, man. Be honest with me now. How's that beard so black?
Look at this.
Where's your
What's up,
gray
Del?
hair at, man? You must not have kids or a spouse. No offense.
I don't think he always had the beard. Look.
Hopefully my wife's not watching.
Dell didn't always have the beard.
Oh, yeah, man. Well, he looks really young in that picture.
Yeah, man.
Man,
good genes. All right, Del. What I want you to do here is here you're going to edit and you're going to put in your phone number. And the hashtags here don't really matter. So you can just remove those and just tell me a little bit more about you, like what you like. Treat it very similarly to what we were doing on Instagram, but just put your phone number first so it can populate when people are searching for you. Because a lot of the times when people are searching for you online, they want a contact info and they can't find you there. So I like that. And let me see what else you've got. Let's see the posts that you've done. Let's go to this last post. You get pretty decent engagement on here, man. That's pretty good. The only thing is I don't think you've posted in the last 2 months. I think this might have been your last post. So what I would suggest is you definitely post a lot more on LinkedIn. You seem to get pretty decent engagement here, and I'll follow you there. Let me
Tristan, are you using your actual phone number on LinkedIn, or are you using some secret?
Well, I don't. I use the community phone number, but it still dials me up. But you can put your phone number on there.
I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't. I mean, I have my phone number listed on my socials and I don't get spammed. I mean, it's kind of like the age-old question, should I have a public or private account? And my answer is always like, if you're going to be private, there's no reason to use social for your business because I mean, the whole point is to be more visible. And if you have a private account, you're not going to be visible. So why be afraid to have your cell phone on there and be able to be contacted by a potential customer, you know?
Yeah, true. I agree. And then I'm not sure what the picture above is telling me, Dell. I would reconsider the picture unless you really love that picture. I would tell more along the lines of the story that you're trying to tell with your social profile when it comes to LinkedIn. I'm choosing, let's see, this is the mayor, and I'm not sure what the hell that is. So it looks like it's just a nice picture. It looks like that's how they all are interesting. I would take a look to see what I could add on the back end that doesn't have that picture that tells a little bit more of a story.
Oh, go to
Uh,
mine, Tristan. Go show
that
them
doesn't.
mine because I was going to bring that up, and this applies to Facebook and everywhere, and I would say more especially to LinkedIn because here's the deal, you know, and I just said this on my threads the other day. If you're not willing to be different, you're going to blend in. And so, and this actually, I need to change that because I'm pretty much removed from mortgage anymore. But like, I wanted my cover photo, and I use this, and I didn't show you this on Facebook, but I want my cover photo to be kind of a quick at a glance, like kind of describe who you are and what you are as a brand and who you are. It's not. I don't have a good one on Facebook. It's just an avatar.
Oh, it's cute. I
Um,
like it.
yeah, but I mean, if you go to, I can show you some examples if you give me screen sharing. But the bigger point is like everything's going more authentic, and we as a community, as a real estate community, you know, we're so guilty of using glamour shots from 10 or 15 years ago. And I mean, if you're not a suit wearer, why are you wearing a suit in your profile picture? Like, if you wear hats and t-shirts like I do, like, be you. Stop being afraid of being you, and be more authentic. Now, if you are a suit wearer, then wear suits in your photos. That's fine. But I think that's one of the things that we're so guilty of. I'm going to show you an example of some good cover photos. That's a good cover photo. And you can see the same guy I showed you on Instagram. He carried it over to Facebook. And then you know what he did? He said, I'm going to make my cover photo a depiction of what describes me as a human being. It's personal. And if I stumble upon Eric on Facebook and I see this, like, I'm drawn to this. If you have a business card as your cover photo on Facebook or even LinkedIn, I mean, LinkedIn, I guess you can get away with it because it is a businessy platform, but on Facebook, man, what a turnoff. Make it authentic, make it real, make it you. We did this for Melanda, same concept. There's her Vizsla dog. You know, I mean, make these profiles like make them more authentic, make them more you. Give people a reason to want to follow you. And I would say honestly, the same thing applies to LinkedIn. And for those of you wondering, the size, the dimensions of these photos on each platform is different. And you can just Google it. You can Google LinkedIn picture dimensions for a cover photo. You probably need to go to Fiverr or actually you can go to Canva, Tristan. Canva has the proper dimensions for each thing if you want to do it yourself, or just hire somebody on Fiverr, or go find yourself a graphic artist VA. There's plenty of them out there. That's who does all the stuff that you see from me. So, you know, there's a lot of options out there.
Very true. Very true. All right. Canva works amazing. Look, we've done a whole session on tech. The last slide that we're going to show you, well, close to the last slide after we go through X, is one that you want to take a snapshot of all the tech we recommend. But any questions on LinkedIn before we move on to X? We've got 15 minutes left, so we're going to speed through X, which sucks because I think it's probably the second biggest opportunity in social. All right, questions going once, twice.
I have to go to the bathroom.
You got 15 minutes, so wait.
Damn
Hold
it.
it. Hold it. We're almost there. Dell, thanks for participating in the last one. Post natively to LinkedIn. Yes, you can do both. You can use a company like Buffer or Sprout, or you can post natively. I still think natively is working well there, but it doesn't make that big of a difference. Good. All right, here we go. Too authentic, Jeff. Too authentic.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's what you get with me. Sorry.
All right. To X or not? Jeff, are you going to be Xing or not Xing this year?
I already X. Am I going to be making it a focal point? No, not yet.
Not
But
yet.
but I'm shifting, and I'll explain why unless you do it before I do.
Okay, I am definitely going to be more purposeful. In fact, the last 2 months I've been testing it out a lot more, and we're doing pretty well. Here's what you have to remember when it
And
comes to
and
X.
can I say this first, Tristan? We covered a lot of platforms today, and I think it's very important to know that depending on where you're at in this journey, ultimately, if you're asking our advice, which platform should I focus on? Because I don't have time for all six. Instagram and Facebook because they talk to each other. Period. End of story. If you're already comfortable somewhere else, that's okay. If you want to make TikTok your cornerstone, fine, do it. I encourage that. If you want to make LinkedIn your cornerstone, fine, do it. That's fine. Just don't become overwhelmed, but listen to what we're saying, because as we talk about X, we study this stuff, we research this stuff, and what we're about to tell you is that we believe X is going to be the future dominating platform of social. Does that mean 2024? Probably not. But 25, 26, 30, I don't know. But I do believe that, Elon's onto something, whether you like him or not.
Here's why. Thank you for bringing that up. I actually all forgot about that. Here's why. When you look at the success YouTube has had over the last 15, 16 years as they grew, they focused more on the influencer. They rewarded them a lot for being there, for showing up, for creating organic content. And what X is doing is they're slowly, gradually, faster than you think, are going towards that route as well. And that means that I, let's say I'm a normal human being, and I'm like, wow, you know what? I want to post more there because I keep on seeing all of these amazing people post there. Well, they're posting there because they're getting paid. Because if their content performs well, they're going to be able to make a living. And you only see that mainly on YouTube right now. So what you're going to see is a shift for some of that to start coming from X, which means a lot of the original content is going to be coming out of X because they're being rewarded so highly. So you have to think long term. Jeff's right. Longer term, that's what we see. And yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's very political. But as more and more influencers start going there, hopefully we start seeing less of that and more of the creative side
Yeah,
of it.
because it is going to start going heavier on video, and it's going to be it's going to allow long form video. So you're going to start to see YouTube style content over on X, which is it's going to be interesting. To
Yeah.
go back to your original question, Tristan, and just for anybody who wants my opinion, you can leave the slides up. I'm gonna end up shifting Lake of the Ozarks lifestyles over to X. Why not? All the
Yeah.
content already exists, so I'm just gonna repurpose it over there because I do believe that Elon. I know that I've read and watched interviews, and Elon says like he doesn't give a crap how many followers you have. What he cares about is the people that are giving an effort, which is not necessarily what all the platforms do. So Elon has a little bit different approach. So again, like or dislike, it doesn't really matter. I do believe that Elon is brilliant. Again, good or bad doesn't matter. And so I believe that he's onto something, and I'm going to test it. What's the harm? And so this is part of the reason why it's like I'm going to focus on YouTube, but then I'm just going to multiply my efforts over to X. And so just as you think ahead, Tristan, how are you going to use X?
I'm going to use X more along the lines of building communities. So taking the experience that I have in building out lab codes and a few other communities, and then showcasing that in the form of saying, hey, if you want to build communities, this is at the core, right? And then also books, because I read a shit ton, right? Which you're already seeing some things that I'm testing out on X if you're following me there.
By the way, Dell, no, Tristan has a Tesla. Jeff doesn't have a Tesla yet. And also, funny story. My commute to the Lake of the Ozarks, which I go at least once a month during the summer all the time, is a 3-hour commute. I'm buying a Tesla so I can multitask and edit videos and post while my car drives itself. That's why I'm going to buy a Tesla in the next few months. Purely business. I actually own
Um,
a Jeep. I'm a Jeep Wrangler, Dell.
no
I'm a
way,
pretty
dude. I
simple
didn't know
dude.
that.
I'm a simple dude, man. Yeah.
Not me. I can't handle simple. I need to complicate it.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have the two opposite ends of the spectrum, but Jeep Wrangler, which is the most uncomfortable ride on the planet, and then a Tesla, which is one of the most comfortable rides on the planet.
Oh, I love it. I love it. All right, guys. Visuals invite, words engage. Remember that when it comes to Twitter. This is extremely, extremely important. And hooks, written hooks. We did a whole hour, I believe it was an hour dive into one influencer, how they grew their X account in less than 8 months from zero to millions. And that was one of the sessions that we did 2 months ago. And that was a powerful one. X obviously used to be Twitter. It's now called X. Download it if you haven't. Take a picture of this. These are the things that are working and that are trends to watch for 2024. Jeff and I both believe that it's going to take time for X to grow into its next phase, but we really strongly believe that that next phase is going to be towards the top, if not the top, of all social. Number one, written pictures work best. They still do. You can take a look at all the millions of activity that happens. You know, on this, Jeff, you mentioned something that Twitter does well. Sorry, X does really well, and that is that you can have 0 followers on X and still gain a lot of views on posts that are valuable. And I remember TikTok used to do that really, really, really well. Do you find that TikTok still does that or as well or no?
What? Say it again.
Uh, the content can go viral without you having following.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's one of the reasons why TikTok creates opportunity. 100%. Yeah,
All right, we find the same thing on
yeah.
X. And by the
I
way,
I think with X too. I mean, again, remember what I said is that you got to be willing to test and try things and be willing to be a trendsetter. And nobody on X that I know of is building community based content. So I just feel like, well, hell, let's try it. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Nothing, right? And so it's like, and the best thing that happens is that I get rewarded because not Elon, but his algorithm is like, hey, I love what this person's doing. They're helping us shape and shift X. Let's reward him. And maybe I'll go viral. I don't know. I mean, damn it. I put that off, but I guess I need to stop putting it off.
yeah, you really need to, man.
Damn it.
Shorts and long video are working really well now. The video experience isn't as great on X, but it's going to get better. Shorts aren't that great. Long videos okay to watch. There's some glitches, but it's growing. Ads work really well. And I think it's because there's a lack of marketers now. When everyone is leaving, that means you have a bigger opportunity that we have tested well. And let me tell you, the response has been great on X. The ads outperform everywhere else that we're running ads, which is crazy to think. But yeah, ads work really well. Communities. This is the third place that I would say has communities. A lot of people don't even know it has communities, but it's Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups, and X communities. That's something that nobody's paying attention to that I think will grab a hold because one thing about X that is very apparent is that it's a place that's very opinionated. And those opinions come with hardcore followers. So communities work spaces. I think some of you, if you're on X, you've seen spaces where people go and they it feels like it's Clubhouse. Remember Clubhouse, Jeff? You remember Clubhouse?
I remember it well.
Yeah, Clubhouse, that's what spaces are. And spaces is a place where you can go in and then have a discussion, a live discussion, and spaces it performs pretty well
Talk about a
as well.
time suck.
Yeah, it is. And they know that, so that's why it works so well. It gives you other options. It's not just a Clubhouse feature, right? It's spaces. And then lastly, believe it or not, you can build your whole following on pure reposting. That's the cool thing about X that I don't think is apparent anywhere else, maybe except for Instagram, where you can just share other posts like memes and things like that. I think here you can grow a whole presence on purely reposting other content because they make it so easy. Best practices, participate in relevant trends. You'll see the trends. A lot of those are sharing valuable content. I think it's too early to really tell what trends are taking off on X, except being on there and watching what's happening. Keep tweets concise. That's true, but also use the thread feature. And I think if you're not on X, you don't know what the thread features are. In fact, threads from Instagram,
I like
that's where
threads.
they got their name,
I
right?
like threads.
They got it from the threads on X,
Yeah.
which means you can follow along. It's like a whole bunch of posts put together. It's a story. And so that works really well when you have a strong hook. I'll give you an example. If you're going to use this for real estate, it would be, these are the top 5 places to move to when it comes to Los Angeles.
Can you put
That
that
would,
back up, Tristan, while you're talking?
yeah, let me go back.
And by the way, once we're wrapped up here for a second, I do have an ask of those of you that are left. So hang tight for a second. It's a simple ask and it'll also benefit you.
Perfect. Use a hook. Here's what we mean by a hook. When we're looking at X, you're going to find that the way to bring in people to listen in, to read, to engage with your posts is if you have something written that tells them there's more coming. And so when it comes to real estate, if you say these are the top 5 places to move to Los Angeles, that would be the top post, and it'd have a picture of maybe LA or wherever you're going to talk about. That would be post number 1. And then another piece to this is the thread piece. And then you'd have number 1, whatever number 1 would be. It'd be like Calabasas with a picture and information and a hashtag. And then another complete thread would be whatever's next. It could be Westlake Village, and then Pacific Palisades. Now you have a total of whatever. The point is, you bring people along for the storytelling aspect of this through the threads, but you have to hook them first. And that's what a lot of people don't understand when it comes to X, the simplicity of storytelling and bringing people through a journey on a single post. That's powerful, man.
Thanks for listening to Social Genius, brought to you by Drunk on Social. We are here to help you take your business to new levels through social media. Make sure to subscribe to get updates on new episodes and come join us on our Drunk on Social Facebook page. And as always, make sure you leave us a great review on your favorite podcast app. Feedback and likes are very much appreciated.